10 interviews in the oil and gas industry, presented to you by Epeus and EnergyAsia.
Help us by telling us what your company does for a living.
The Epeus Group of companies is a global management services providing company, and we work specifically on helping our clients manage their projects more effectively.
Okay. Oil and gas in particular? Or?
Yes, at the moment the focus of the business is predominantly oil and gas.
Right. Something about your company starting up, history, how many countries you operate in?
Sure.
Whereabouts are you most active?
Absolutely. The company started 5 years ago, was first incorporated in 2002, and with the specific aim to help protect clients' interests on projects. We started, the first company was based in the UK, in Aberdeen, and since then we've now grown to having operations in Houston, in Texas, still in Aberdeen in Scotland, Ghana and Nigeria in West Africa, and the Middle East in Abu Dhabi, and here in Singapore, servicing the Asian market from here.
Where would you call head office?
It's an interesting question. The head office of the business, I suppose, from a corporate function perspective, would be in Houston in Texas.
That's where it is. Correct.
Yeah.
As we speak, oil is still holding well above the $100 mark.
Yes.
And we've seen almost $150 last month. How do companies operate in such an environment? So, for example, in your client's case, how do you help them operate in a higher oil price environment?
Well, what's happening with the increase in the price of oil is it's fueling a demand for global exploration for oil. And in our niche of the market, that means that our clients are looking to build more drilling rigs capable of drilling in deeper waters, capable of drilling in harsher environments and that sort of thing. Where we help the clients is we actually help them to manage those projects effectively and run them in on budget and on schedule and to the required quality.
Just to delve in a little bit, how do you help your clients? So let's say you have a large company like a BP, for example. They come to you, they say we're going to build X number of rigs. Is that how it works?
Well, the BPs of the world, as an operating company, don't own the rigs. They'd be drilling contractors. So, for example, the Transoceans, the Atwoods, the Pride Internationals, and that sort of thing. How BP engage? We as a company, we have three main services. We have a project consulting service. We have what we call project out-tasking service, and we have a staff augmentation. A specialist personnel provider service. The BPs of the world hire us in terms of generally in project consulting services, whereby we'll help them at a strategic level in terms of how do we approach the project, how do we define it, is the undertaking feasible, all this kind of thing. The other services that they utilize us for is in a project assurance and risk management role, whereby we'll identify the overall project risks, the risk profile of the project, the stages in the project moving forward, and then provide a service throughout the lifetime of the project in terms of auditing and checking and monitoring.
Right. How big is your team? It sounds like you have a lot to do when you get a big client.
Sure. The personnel that we carry, because we work in the space of protecting our clients' interests rather than as a contracting company, we work with very small teams of professionals. So therefore, as a company, we maintain a workforce of it varies, but between 50 and 100 personnel generally worldwide.
Worldwide, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Companies are also facing credit issues these days.
Yes.
And if a company goes out and tries to build something, they need to go to the banks to borrow. It's a very tough environment right now. How do you help them manage in this environment?
From the credit crunch perspective, well, we can work on a number of levels here. For example, we're working with the likes of Macquarie, ABN AMRO, and the Morgan Stanleys of the world, from a due diligence perspective, from an evaluation perspective, on projects that they're looking to invest in. And help, if you like, help them to meet their stringent requirements before they make an investment nowadays. We've seen a tightening in that market, definitely, with the liquidity in the market sort of tightening up. The other way that we help our clients from a credit crunch perspective is looking at their project strategy and seeing how and helping them to if you like, through the change process, adapt to newer, tighter restrictions on availability of cash for the projects. And at various stages through the project, you know, generally a change of phase. So, for example, if you're moving from a planning phase into a manufacturing phase or an execution phase, then we can adjust the approach depending on the availability of cash and cash flow in the projects.
Would you say that almost all your work is focused right now on the upstream sector of the oil industry?
Yes, absolutely. That's the space that we occupy.
Right, right. Yeah. And that's keeping you totally busy.
Oh yes, yeah. We have. It's a nice situation to be in where you actually have probably more work than you can handle almost. Certainly from an inquiries perspective.
Right. You mentioned ABN AMRO, Morgan Stanley. These are financial institutions.
Yes.
How are you involved with helping them? As a contractor, obviously, right?
Yes.
They source work out to you. So, what is their role in the upstream oil and gas industry? You mentioned something about investing.
Yes, where they are looking at investing into new markets, predominantly the drilling market. They may not have specific market knowledge. They don't necessarily understand how the equipment works, what the risks associated with operating this type of equipment and constructing and manufacturing and building this type of equipment. So they engage us to go and have a look at the equipment that they potentially may well be. Of the companies that they may well be investing into. They'll ask us to do forecasts in terms of where's the market going, what do we think is going to happen to that particular market. They might just use us for almost like a reconnaissance basis. Can you go and take a look around and make sure and touch something to make sure that it actually exists and it's real. You know, so in a number of different ways, but always generally as a consulting aspect.
How long have they been using your services in regards to looking at investing in the upstream sector?
In terms of investment, just this year, and predominantly in the Far East here.
The Far East,
yeah.
How close are you to concluding something with them, like helping them conclude the deal?
Oh, we've worked on a number of deals with the likes of these banks.
Mm-hmm. Anything that you can talk about?
Well, nothing specifically. Most of the work that we do centres on inward investment in China.
Into China? And this is like upstream related?
Yes, absolutely.